Greetings, salutations, and a good old hearty hello to all you individuals. Mark and Eric here. It is League on Lock, and we are oh so close. We're oh so close, Mark, to competitive games. Coming back, the Midseason Cup, less than 24 hours from getting underway. The top four in the LCK, top four in the LPL. We're going to preview the whole shebang, Shabbat, Group A, Group B. Who's the actual stronger region? Because there are some people leaning on either side of the fence as to whether the LCK or the LPL is stronger heading into this event.
Yeah, this is not going to be as straightforward, black and white as we've seen it before when you're talking about these type of international events and you're looking at these two regions clashing, and especially the LCK and LPL. It's always been the time where people have been able to talk about, maybe different play styles, but this is the region that reigns supreme. And even when you're looking at these two regions and you're looking at one of them with an incredible amount of international success recently and one without it, you'd be thinking totally different sides here. But when you're getting right into this one, boy, this is going to be a pretty even matchup. And I'm really excited to see both sides here, both regions getting at it, because I tell you what, we're going to see some primo League of Legends.
And remember, this isn't Rift Rivals. It's not the LCK versus the LPL. Everybody's playing everybody. You could have 4 Korean teams in the semifinals. You could have 4 LPL teams in the semifinals. It's just single round robin, so each team's going to play 3 games, and the top 2 squads advance to semis, who will await the top 2 from the other side, and the seeding, all the rearranging, all that jazz. But there's plenty of intriguing matchups across the board, because with stacked rosters, you've got the previous 2 world champions, T1, in the midst of a three-peat in the LCK. And when you're looking at Group A, which is the more intriguing matchup-wise for me at least, immediately Faker versus Knight. That's something people have wanted to see for a very long time. They've wanted to see Knight go up against some of the best mid laners in the world. And the mid lane talent in Group 1 in particular, or Group A, is insane. Showmaker's the worst mid laner.
Which is an unbelievable statement to make when you're talking about talent in the mid lane. It is going to be a real treat. And you said it, Faker versus Knight. These are the type of matchups that you dream of getting to watch in League of Legends, and especially talking about a player like Faker that we've had for so long and has been so dominant and is the very pinnacle of what you think of when you think of League of Legends eSports. Man, we've come so close to seeing some incredible battles for him. People had always been thinking about the times of, what if we got Faker versus Apto? Things like that would have been really cool. This is pretty close to getting that, in a sense, getting Knight, one of the most mechanically intensive and impressive players in the game of League of Legends, going up against the unkillable Demon King.
And the other huge matchup for T1 is going up against FPX, and that's because, the whole event kicks off FPX versus T1, and I swear to God, if Khan does not play in that game, there's no way FPX does that. He has to go up against his former boys in T1.
Right, it's the BMW brothership to kick things off for this event. It's going to be T1 FPX, and yes, you're right, it's gotta be Khan starting in this one. Look, if you were talking about any other international event, if this was a real MSI, I could understand whatever excuses you want to throw out from the FPX side about why you weren't putting Khan into this rematch against T1. Even if this is for some bragging rights, and for, of course, as we've talked about, no small pocket change in $600,000 US. Man, you still got to put Khan in this matchup. Give the fans what they want. Give Khan what he wants and give T1 what they want. They want this matchup here. Give them the revenge tour.
Ban Fiora if Khan is you don't want to get embarrassed by that if you're T1. For Group A, though, I'm somewhat confident, thinking even with the volatility of best of ones, that T1 makes it out as one of the 2 seeds. I'm equally as confident that Damwon does not make it out as one of those 2 seeds, which means for me it's either FPX or Top that are getting that second spot, and that could absolutely go either way. I mean, towards the end of playoffs, TES were clearly playing better than FPX. It's just how much of these teams improved or degraded during this break. What has their practice schedule been like?
That's going to be the really interesting thing to look at, as you've talked about, is yes, the expectations is not for Damwon to do particularly well in this group. there's a lot against them when you're looking at all the players across the board and you're looking at the form that Damwon had been showing. Yes, improving over towards the end of the split, but certainly not the level that we had expected after getting to Worlds last year. They're going to be in tough because, man, it's all about how much preparation and how much work Jackie Love and the top esports crew have done. Because if they have continued to improve, worked on that communication and the chemistry coming through, the skill and talent is completely there for top to take that last spot and get out of this group.
So obviously that head-to-head is I think Damwon has a good chance of going 0-3. So the head-to-head match between FPX and TES probably going to dictate who gets out of that group. Group B, I think across the board is more evenly matched and harder to predict who's going to get out, because I could see any two of these four teams advancing. Dragon X, Gen G, Invictus, which is the 4 seed from the LPL, remember, and JD Gaming, who I feel like people are almost sleeping on the most in this group and giving them the least likely chance of getting out. But did you not watch what they did towards the end of the regular season and the playoffs? They won the split. They beat IG a couple of times, or not a couple of times, but they beat FPX as well. They beat all the top teams in the LPL. We finally got to put some respect on.
And this is respect that's been due for months, if not a year now at this point for JDG. We've seen the growth of this squad, this organization over the past year. They've reached some incredible highs, but they weren't really just so close to getting those final championships. Now they've got it. Now they've got that championship under their belt and looking to prove themselves even more, this squad. Look, there's going to be a lot of top plays being made, and you better believe that it's going to be coming from some of these JDG players, especially our boy Navi in the jungle. You can't forget about what he's going to be doing. And yes, your boy Zoom is going to be up in that top side. And one of the best things about getting these type of matchups, LCK, LPL, is getting to throw some of the very best at the very best. And that's what you're going to be seeing in that top lane for sure. And Zoom will be proving his worth, no doubt.
The top lane matchups in Group B, Rascal and Doran are still relatively young players. They got to go against Zoom and the Shy, the two best top laners in the LPL. That is a serious test for them, especially when Kana was kind of dumpstering both of them in those matchups in the playoffs in the LCK. It's another level going up against Zoom and the Shy. So we'll see how these young guns can show up against the big boys in the top lane of the LPL. And on the other side, Puff on IG going up against players like Ruler and Deft. Puff doesn't have really any international experience, so a lot of chances and opportunities for these younger, less proven players to go up against some marquee names in Group B.
And one of the trends that you will look at when you talk about these young players is that, yes, in their own regions, they have found success, found ways to prove their own worth and prove their potential, that they are going to continue to grow and develop. This is a different story now when you're going, as you said, when you're going up against some of these other international bot lanes, when someone like Puff is going to go up against Deft and other players. Yes, you've been able to handle the very best of the LPL. And yes, the very best of the LPL is internationally recognized as some of the best in the world. So is the LCK, and so are a lot of these players. And just because you've been able to handle it in the LPL at a high level doesn't mean you're going to be able to handle what the LCK bot lanes are going to be able to throw at you, especially, as you said, you talked about some of these big names, Ruler, Def, Teddy, all those boys definitely going to be hungry to pick up some kills, so you better be up to the task if your name is Puff.
And I don't care what ping they're on, 50, 60, 6 ping. I want to see Chovy versus Rookie, the Lane Kingdom in the mid lane. That's going to be a really exciting match. But for me, Group B, I'm probably leaning towards JDG and Dragon X getting out of this group, because I think what Kyria did in the spring split, his first split, he's only going to showcase even more going up against more competition in the LPL. Piosik, it's an opportunity for him to step up. But Dragon X, I think towards the end of the regular season, and even in playoffs, look better than Gen G. So I got Dragon X and JDG getting out.
And I think that one of the things that people aren't realizing quite as much about DRX is that, look, the form that they showed when they got ousted in the playoffs, it was one of those ones where you knew that, yes, you saw a lot of the positives coming through and you saw the strength of this team developing, but you still knew that there were these little weak spots that a squad like a T1 that was in the form that they were in were going to be able to take advantage of. It's all about, as we said, with a squad like JDG, it's going to be a squad here where they need to prove that they've used the time off since these finals to continue to improve, continue to build upon things, because that's exactly what they need to be showing us if they're going to be getting out. And you're right to be betting on it, because players like Kyria, like Piosik, have absolutely shown us that that development curve for them is incredibly steep, and they're going to continue to grow.
Now, IG, top seed from the LPL. You think they're making it out? You got IG getting out of this group?
I would love to see IG get out of this group. I think that the individual talent is completely there always for IG to make their case through. I don't know if the coordination is going to be there in their play compared to this group.
And remember, there's no Lian. He is not on the team anymore. It's going to be Ning for all the games for IG, and we've seen some suspect performances out of Ning. The craziest thing is they're bringing 3 supports to this event as their roster. 3 supports. Baolon, a lot of people don't even know, he's still on the team. He didn't leave IG. He's still there as a sub. It's just
he just needed Jackie Love to go away, his best friend.
That's too bad that they're not in the same group. You know, you could throw Baolon in across Jackie Love just to tilt him. No,
oh my God.
No, he's back in my lane. But IG, the jungle is still a big question mark for me, and even the Shy you saw in the playoffs against GDG, one of his worst series that we've ever seen. So you can either play he's in a bit of a slump, or you can say he's going to bounce back, because if the Shy plays at his peak, no question IG's getting out of this group. He's going to hard carry and just obliterate the souls of the opposition if he's playing at his peak.
You said it right, though. If he's playing at his peak, and the other important thing you mentioned was the jungle. It is a question mark still, the performance from Ning. And it's the question mark whether, and look, yes, the question mark can end up being a double check mark. Yeah, that can be an absolutely stellar performance from Ning. The chances of that double check mark happening, not as high as the double X going on that screen, making that one through. It's not exactly what you want to be seeing from someone like Ning, and especially considering the form of the other squads and their junglers, they're not going to be question marks on what they're going to be doing.
Quid.
Yeah, exactly. Not looking the same. So that is certainly going to be the weak point for IG.
And if you had to pick this whole event, a big favorite, the easy answer is probably T1 based on how the playoffs went. But even if you're picking them as a favorite for the whole event, it's not a sizable thing. There's no way I would take T1 against the field. You're taking the field 100% of the time at an event like this.
There's just way too much talent, way too many variables here to go through and pick T1 against the field. Even if, being the T1 Homer fan myself, I can't justify that type of situation, that type of blind faith. There's just so many talented players and skill coming through, and so many variables again on the T1 side, and how we know that they aren't always maybe the strongest in terms of best of one, even considering how strong you would expect them to be. You can't be doing that. Given the strength of this one, we've got too much talent, and that is, of course, as analysts and fans of the game, that is all you can ask for.
And Cuz and LM both on the roster for the event, obviously. Who knows who's going to be getting playing time? You assume Cuz early on. That's how the playoffs were playing out, but we'll see. Maybe they want to test something out. It's a quick 4-day event. Thursday, it's all Group A. They all play their matches. Friday, Group B. Saturday, get the semifinals. Sunday are the finals in the midst of this 48-hour streamathon that's going to be going on. But got a little bit of off-season news to get to. A little bit of roster shuffle. We were questioning, is Dardoch going to be able to get a team? Well, he did pretty quickly. It remains to be seen if he's going to be the starter on Dignitas, because if you watched Acadian stream, you basically heard him say the Dig org coaching staff management, they're basically going to play scrims for a week with all the players, Academy and LCS, a different combination every game. I don't know how they're going to play that out, and then kind of decide from that week who should be the starters for the LCS. It should be Acadian based on previous work. He stayed with the team. I'd be starting Acadian. Maybe something changes with scrims, but man, Acadian cannot buy a roster spot, man.
And this is ridiculous, and it's becoming a worrisome trend from the Dignitas ownership group and the management of the squad. I don't know what's going on. Look, you had the success when they took over the Clutch with the Clutch Gaming takeover and things like that.
Roster,
And they had, had some success. You had playing through Hooney's strong pick champions. You had DeMonte developing in the mid lane. Everything was looking great. Now, throw that away. Okay, none of that.
Reset,
no more of that.
button.
We'll pay Hooney a ridiculous amount. Okay, that's a different story. You get to this year and everything doesn't go quite your way. But one of the positives, one of the very few, if not only positives you had, was somewhat developed synergy again between Froggen and Acadian. And this isn't exactly something new. This is what we'd seen years prior on Echo Fox, that Acadian and Froggen is a duo that can find some strengths and work together for the benefit of both of them in their roles. Now we are throwing that pretty much by the wayside, or willing to throw a wrench into that to say, hey, let's just bring in Dardoch, which, okay, look, Dardoch is not a top-tier jungler. We didn't see that performance with TSM. And B, we saw a reoccurrence of the toxicity problems with Dardoch, responsibility issues, which that is not leading me to feel all that confident about putting him on my team for Dignitas. And this is just, again, a trend of worrisome, questionable decisions from them. And look, you said it. I'd be going with Acadian as my starting jungler, given what we saw last split from him and from Dardoch. And now all I can say is what I'm going to be seeing here and what I'm predicting. This is my prediction. I'll see Acadian come through in this whatever 10-man trial that they're going to be doing. Acadian will get that starting spot. 1, 2, 3 weeks go by. How many weeks until we're going to be start seeing talks of, oh man, Dardoch is ready from Academy, all these other type of things. And it's just like, why?
And
why do that to your players
opposite.
and to yourself?
It'll be the opposite if Dardoch starts. It's going to happen either way. 3 weeks in, Dardoch's maybe not looking so good. Acadian annihilating Academy. Whichever one of them gets the start, I feel like both of them are going to be getting stage games on the LCS, because that's just the Dignitas way. You bring in at least one, preferably 2 XTSM junglers, and then swap through them throughout the split.
And look, the way things ended with TSM and the whole Lena leaked conversation and everything like that, yeah, that's not great. And that's certainly not positive by any means. But putting Dardoch into this type of situation, I'm not 100% sold on this one.
It's the only option,
Dardoch,
maybe.
It could be, but even from Dardoch's perspective, I'm not seeing this as the ultimate business opportunity here. Of course, you've just wasted away the TSM one, but look, you're running out of options, and this one doesn't seem to be the best one in my eyes, but you got to make it work.
Well, I think this is a recipe, and I think Dignitas now is the formula for a 7th place finish, a 7th or 8th place finish right outside playoffs. That's
They copied the Golden Guardians homework, but they did it. They copied it upside down. So it's even worse.
Shoot, we didn't import from the TCL or the OPL. Yeah, we missed that one, guys. You sure we don't just sign an XTSM jungler? The wrong XTSM member, Hanser. Oh, whoops.
Guys, we've tried with a couple of the XTSM 2 times. The 3rd time's the charm. It's got to be this one.
Jungle is the best role, the strongest role TSM has ever had.
I don't know why TSM's letting all these junglers go. They're the best ones.
Dignitas. Lord Sunday. We'll see what that roster looks like for summer. Another slightly head-scratching move. UCal, as we've seen Griffin kind of getting blown up to the wayside, at least all the hot commodities. Tarzan maybe going to the LPL. Vipers on Hanwha Life. And UCal is going back to KT Rolster. But KT has Kuro. What is Kuro leaving? Is UCal lane swapping? Listen, role swap him top. I'll take it. I'll take UCal top.
I'd be honest, I would take a UCal role swap at this point if this is the move, as we've seen signing with KT Rolster. Look, going back to KT, going back to where you won a championship. Okay, I've got no issues there. I do have issues with obviously. Right, I have an issue with obviously with Kuro in that starting lineup already, and UCal coming in. You can't be putting UCal in place of Kuro given this past split. There's no way you could justify that type of move. So this has to be hopefully something else maybe happening behind the scenes as far as moving through things. But look, KT wasn't all that far off from improving even more so and blowing by our expectations for them in this spring split.
Well, they already did.
I don't know how much they want to tinker with that heading into summer.
And I think everyone on the outside looking in your upgrades were the top side of the map on KT, jungle and top, either one of them. It wasn't Kuro. It absolutely wasn't aiming. So maybe they feel something differently with management. Who knows what UCal's role is actually going to be, but I wouldn't start him over Kuro in the mid lane.
I don't think anyone's looking to make that move. And look, don't take this the wrong way. Really happy to see UCal get picked up. UCal is a good player, is a good person. One of the people that I like to see succeed and do well in the scene. I don't know if this is setting him up exactly himself or even KT Rolster for the best level of success.
Yeah, and it's definitely not been the level of hype that he had since he first left KT, where we were talking about him kind of rising into that top 3 mid laner category in the LCK. It absolutely hasn't been since his time on Afrika, now over to Griffin. Maybe he just gotta get back to where it all started, but I honestly can't see him starting over Kuro, so maybe he's leaving. Who knows? We'll see what KT looks like in summer. Midseason Cup this weekend. We'll talk about all the highlights and results as it goes, but that is all the time today for League Unlock. That young man is Mark. My name is Eric. Thank you guys for hanging out as always. We'll catch you lads and lasses on the flippity flop.